This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons.
Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. We're brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. This is the only show in the entire metro area that is devoted to the growth and development of your favorite metro area. And without any further ado, I'm going to bring on my co-host, a man who is a legendary commercial real estate broker, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Jeff Beals.
Well, good morning. It is late summer, Labor Day weekend.
Cool morning.
Very much so. And so many people having a good time this weekend. Labor Day is always kind of fun. And do you have any big plans?
I do not. I'm taking it easy. I've got some things I have to do, but we always make fun.
I've got a thing with the extended family on Sunday, but other than that, I think it's just a weekend of catching up, taking it easy, and maybe doing a few things around the house. Well, let's get into it. Good show as always today, and we have a Grow Omaha Eats restaurant review this week. We do them every other week. Sarah Baker Hansen is Omaha's premier food critic, and she is our Grow Omaha restaurant reviewer. All of our reviews are brought to you by Cheer Athletics, which is the nation's top all-star cheer gym. Only 12 locations in the world, and one of them is here in Omaha, located near Highway 50 and 370.
And we're lucky to have them.
So, Trenton, this week it was Dynamite, which is the wood-fired upscale restaurant in the Farnham Hotel that was reviewed. If people want to read the review, which we strongly encourage them to do so, simply go to the growomaha.com website and click on Eats, EATS, in the navigation bar. Dynamite is on there, as well as all of our past reviews by Sarah Baker Hansen. You can read all about it. Trenton, though, this is the restaurant that is in the Farnham Hotel, relatively new. It's kind of got the big city vibe when you go in there. Real great cocktail bar as well.
Yeah, I love it. I've been there a half dozen times at least, and they've got Reuben balls, which are like little Reuben sandwiches.
I think they prefer to call them croquettes.
Oh, that's right.
You call them Reuben balls.
Okay, good point. You should see the size of the Reuben. But anyway, it is right next to this beautiful riverfront park. The ambiance is great. They've got these timbers that they took out of the charred M's Pub space on the wall, turned it into art. It's very nice.
Made them into a sculpture.
Yeah, and I highly recommend Dynamite. It's consistent, it's unique, and the atmosphere is really great. Then you take a stroll through the park after.
One of the time I was there was with you.
Absolutely.
It was 3 couples. Yeah. At any rate, so you can read about Dynamite and all of our restaurant reviews on growomaha.com by clicking on Eats, EATS. All right. Who is ready for the economic development, commercial real estate, and business news of the week?
Everyone.
And that includes you, Trenton. So let's go ahead and do it. It's brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. You hear about Holly Schneiderwind on KFA periodically. Scott Voorhees talks about Holly and her team at Eagle Mortgage. They do such a great job of taking care of people who are going to make a huge investment, buying a new house. It can be stressful, you know. I mean, some of you have bought houses and some of you maybe haven't, but will. Either way, it's a big deal. And if you are thinking about buying a house, go meet with Eagle Mortgage. You want to get a pre-approval letter from Eagle Mortgage, and that way you know what you're qualified for, and it's like a weapon and a shield you can take into battle with you as you're searching for the great house for you and your family. It doesn't matter whether you're going to go conventional or FHA, VA, USDA. They do all of those, and you can find them in person at 114th and Davenport or online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. All right, let's start off with a few things we have going on this week. Number one, we have good news for travelers. United Airlines is bringing back nonstop flights from Omaha Eppley Airport to San Francisco International Airport. Trenton, these were canceled back during the pandemic. You recall in 2020 when air traffic fell off the cliff, a lot of those nonstop routes just went away overnight. and they are slowly trickling back. And this Omaha to San Francisco was one of the last ones to come back. So they're going to kick it off on September 7th, which is this week. And you'll be able to fly nonstop. Now,
that's great.
There originally were 2 daily nonstops to and from San Francisco. The plan is to start off with 1 initially and then get back to having the full 2. I think at like about January or something like that is when the other ones will come back into play. And so that's always good to kind of get the air traffic stuff going. All right, next thing on the docket. We've talked so much in the last half year about the W. Dale Clark Library and the fact that it's going to be torn down and the skyscraper that will replace it. Well, guess what? It's finally closed. It is now officially and finally closed. And so now the process of moving everything is underway. The temporary replacement location on Howard Street near 14th is open, but it's small. Eventually, the new downtown branch will be at 1401 Jones Street, and the administrative distribution operation going out to 84th and Frederick.
I actually walked through the old Shopco at 84th Frederick Square. We got a couple new tenants coming in there as well, in addition to the library, distribution and administration, archives. They're making good progress in there. They've got a lot of new walls up in there, plumbing and HVAC, so they're well on their way. Noddle Companies is spearheading that effort on both locations, and I don't think there's any pro-brutalist movement that are chaining themselves to the old W. Dale Clark Library saying, we need to keep this architecture around. This is the most...
They're not going to chain themselves. They might duct tape themselves, but that's not quite as much of a commitment as chaining yourselves.
That's true, but that is brutalist architecture, ladies and gentlemen. Hard to believe it didn't stick.
Brutalist-looking building, I can tell you that much. Can't wait for that thing to start coming down in early October. Absolutely. Boom! I'm sure
it's going to be like boom, boom. All right, boom. More boom.
In other words, slowly going down by wrecking ball.
Yeah.
I tell you, it is always a disappointment anytime a building doesn't come down by implosion. But hey, we'll get rid of it any way we can to make way for a really sweet building.
I think the neighbors prefer wrecking ball.
Yeah, just ask any longtime Omahans. Remember Frankie Payne? Remember that was the old Campbell Soup TV dinner.
Next to it, yeah.
And they came down.
It was called Door. It was an out-of-town firm.
And they said, "Oh no, don't worry, this will be fine." Yeah. And the implosion
during this
slid into the.
What was that? 2 years that you could see his TV and all his contents and everything. I think he had the right to be upset. But I think he was well compensated for his pain and suffering, and he deserved it. But it sat there forever.
He deserved the compensation, not the pain and suffering, just to clarify.
Okay, yeah, good point.
Just to clarify.
But I remember that thing was there for months, if not a year or two.
Yeah, that was crazy. And people who were around downtown in those days know exactly what we're talking about. Everyone else is probably like, what the hell are they talking about?
It's kind of like John Belushi in Animal House when he tore apart that guitar against the wall, slammed against the wall. He's like, sorry.
Kind of like that, yeah. Well, the Sarpy County Chamber is going to hold a ribbon cutting in a few weeks, September 21st, for the Echo Park Apartments. This is a newly constructed complex at 7561 South 146th Street. Translated to English, that's 144th and I think it's Echo Parkway or Echo, something like that.
That really helps everybody.
Yeah. Well, it's just above, you know where the Tornado Car Wash is on 140? It's south of that. Everyone knows where that is because that was the one that was damaged by the tornado several years ago. And
that's why they changed it to Tornado Car Wash.
And they renamed it Tornado Car Wash, yeah. So anyway, this will be a 280-unit complex, 2,400 square feet of retail space. So there's that. Hey, we always talk about tax increment financing, and so many projects get it. It makes it possible, or at least a lot more likely that we can build projects in certain parts of town, or projects can be nicer than they would otherwise be without tax increment financing. Well, sometimes projects get tax increment financing and they don't happen. And so it's kind of interesting. The city council voted just this past week to rescind TIF, tax increment financing, for a few projects that had been approved for it that never happened. One was the apartment. Remember that apartment building that was going to be at 72nd and Center?
Yeah, with the pool on top. And
all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that was one of them. So apparently that's gone. And then another one was the conversion of an office building at 15th and Howard into apartments. I think on the ground floor, if I remember correctly, there had been like a copy center or a printing business or something like that. It's just southeast of the Orpheum and was supposed to turn into apartments. And apparently that's not going to happen. And then another one was an empty building near 14th and Jones Street.
I think
so. Not everything works out,
but I think that TIF should automatically have 2 years or something. I understand markets and pandemic was unique and things like that, but I don't blame the city council. You can't have unlimited time to keep your tax increment financing status.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure there are some sort of allowances for that, but I'm not terribly familiar with the rules and regulations. So let's talk about Costco. For the last year, everyone was talking about Costco at 180th and Maple, Costco at 180th and Maple. And for the last couple of months, it appeared to us that it was real. And now we have confirmation because Costco is going to be coming before the planning board this week.
Southeast corner of 180th and West Maple Road.
This will be the biggest Costco around, and so much bigger than the other two. Currently Costco is at 123rd and Dodge, and good luck trying to go there. I refuse to go to that place because the parking lot is so hard to deal with.
Especially when Chick-fil-A is open.
The two of those together can be rough, especially at Chick-fil-A lunchtime. So at any rate, when I go to Costco, which is not very often because I'd rather pluck my fingernails out than go to Costco, but I hate going to Costco, but my wife goes there and we like the stuff we get at Costco.
So you go to the other one.
My wife goes to the other one. And if I ever have to go with her, I always insist on the La Vista location. Anyway, this one will relieve the 123rd and Dodge location. It's still not for sure 100% done deal. It's got to go through the proper hoops of city government, but it will. And so 3 Costco's in the area.
Well, there's also that, Jerry Selesky and I in a group developed 168th to 170th and 77th and West Maple, that Walmart. We started that in 98 and developed 149 acres, but
and the project called the Thompson Mile.
The Thompson Mile, and on the north side, Dillon Brothers Harley Davidson as well, and all the other motorcycles there. But also, you've got Fleet Farm coming, which is about 183rd, 184th.
Yeah, it's just a few blocks west of where the future Costco will be.
And then there's rumors, and I repeat, these are rumors. There's talks about a Sam's Club. We're breaking it right here, right now. I don't have concrete proof, but a Sam's Club just to the east of
Fleet Farm, but west of the proposed Costco.
Yeah, so that's 3 big retailers that could go on that corridor.
Which is interesting even if that one doesn't turn out to be true, just getting Costco and Fleet Farm, who are both massive box retailers on the same corridor, is kind of a big deal these days because you don't see a lot of big box retail construction anymore. It wasn't too many years ago in which there was a Super Target or a Best Buy under construction practically on every intersection. Well, that's no longer the case these days. So to have all those big boxes going in brand new on Maple is pretty cool. And then for a lot of people that have not been in a Fleet Farm, I poked my head into one once in, I think it was Rapid City, South Dakota. It's quite a store and huge. I mean, might even be bigger than a Costco. I don't know. They're pretty big.
It'll be neat. They cover everything. People compare it to a Menards versus
a little bit of like ag store versus a little bit of like maybe a hint of a Cabela's type thing. It's just got a lot of stuff. It's kind of cool. They're out of the upper Midwest, maybe that Wisconsin, Minnesota area, I believe.
The reason I'm looking at my phone is I'm waiting for confirmation on whether I can disclose what's going next to Costco, your favorite Costco, and Chick-fil-A. We've got a new breaking development, but I'm waiting for confirmation from someone that can give me proof.
Where is there room for that? Oh, is that like right north of where the Panera is?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, that would be kind of interesting. We'll have to see if you get permission for that. But at least we can tell people that something is going there.
Absolutely.
Okay. Hey, one last thing in the news. In 3 weeks, we're going to be doing a live remote from the brand new REI store that's going to be opening in Nebraska Crossing. The official first day of opening will be Friday, September 23rd. Our show will broadcast live Saturday morning, September 24th. But this is kind of cool. Right now, Nebraska Crossing and REI are giving away a 2022 Subaru Outback Wilderness. Couple things. Number one, if you want to register to have a chance to win this Subaru Outback Wilderness, simply go to the Grow Omaha newsletter. You can get it at growomaha.com, click on Market Report, and when you're reading the retail and restaurant section, there's a link there where you can go ahead and enter to win the Subaru Outback Wilderness. But here's the cool thing. We're going to announce the winner on the show, live from the brand new REI store on the 24th.
Something tells me our listenership is going to be up that day.
Something also tells me that you and I are not eligible to win the Subaru Outback since we're doing this. So we'll have to be stuck with our own cars.
All right, I got it.
Okay, here it goes. Breaking news.
Ladies and gentlemen, this just in from high above Underwood Avenue. Tommy's Express has got clearance for going right to the north of the Panera, right next to Costco, will be a beautiful red, shiny Tommy's Express. There's one beautiful one open today at 180th and West Dodge, and this will be, I think, the fourth one that'll be open. There'll be many more, but there's one that's opening any minute now at 84th and Highway 370, and they've been working on this very hard, and it'll open. It'll be built right next to Costco.
We end the news of the week with breaking news so fresh that Trenton just got permission to say it less than 30 seconds ago. Tommy's Express coming to the area west of Chick-fil-A and north of Panera by the West Dodge Costco. And that's your news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. Thank you, Eagle Mortgage, for making this possible. You can find out more about them at eaglemortgagecompany.com. I'm going to take our first break of the hour, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some news in Sarpy County. Growth and development in Nebraska's fastest growing county. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
When it comes to concrete,
all right, I got to get the guests in. How much time do we have, Raj?
Construction. For more than 25 years,
A little over 3.
TR Construction has been your Omaha-owned, full-service concrete construction company known for quality workmanship, impeccable service, and the ability to complete jobs on time. TR Construction uses state-of-the-art 3D laser technology and is attentive to every project's safety requirements. Go to trconstructionomaha.com to learn about our commercial and industrial services. TR Construction, building concrete excellence.
What makes Ayers and Ayers a better option for your
Okay.
Ayers and Ayers. It's a great name for a construction company.
Ayers design, build, and
Here's
solutions with in-house
my
architecture.
Thank you, man.
How about its experience from everyday meetings to new
well.
Do you got any of that? Do you got any of that Pfizer riser cream?
Well,
The choice is clear.
Would that work?
no, that's not going to work very well. Isn't there a screw?
There you go.
Okay, that'll work. We'll make it work.
Don't touch it.
Okay, so make yourself comfortable. The restroom is right down there on this way, adjacent. And then, Barb, if you want to hang out here for a little bit, you can. This is Trenton Magid.
How are you? Nice to see
Amy
you.
Polanco.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Roger Olson.
Hi.
Barb
Hello,
Reeser.
nice to meet you.
It's Reesner, right? Okay.
Jason.
Are they both coming on?
Yeah, and then it'll be the segment after this
Okay.
one.
So I wish this was under other circumstances, but I appreciate you coming on. Character loss. This is, I know everybody says that, but it's hit way too close to home.
We're finding that out a lot as we talk about it.
You know,
Everyone else. It can be
what percentage of the population is medicated versus should be medicated?
It's like maybe a third.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, it's
I'm medicated.
No one can
It's low.
prevent all identity theft, but everyone can
But it should be
save
more.
up to 25% their first year with promo code
I think
NEWS.
just having friends to talk to too is so.
What do we have, 1 minute?
People don't realize that it's.
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty fast, wasn't I?
You still got some good quits for a
No, I've had
while.
those
For an old
conversations.
guy, I still can
I've been
move.
on it forever.
I might charge the laptop here then.
Not years, no experience.
So, Dan and Angie,
Are you going to have to unplug something?
No.
That's fine if you do. I'm just going to request
I owe them a.
that you plug that where you unplug that in.
So every piece of it.
Yeah,
Protest, fighting words.
we had some things on Monday morning.
So what's your day job?
Not worse, not work.
Oh, good, awesome.
We looked down, someone charged their
Hey, Jason.
computer.
Now this one always, there's always an open one here every Saturday.
Oh.
So either someone has,
We must have, they may have done some,
okay, yeah, because whenever I charge, there's always an open one down here. Yeah.
that's because somebody else probably already unplugged
This
it.
morning, one of the shows this morning, I already wrecked it.
Yeah, that's true, actually, when I think about it. All right, here we go.
All right, Trenton, let's go.
News stories, daily
She was
podcasts,
at-
contests,
she
and
was
all
the
of our hosts'
interpreter at
social media
Children's.
links can be found right now on
Really?
KFAB.com.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Maggot here in the KFAB studio high above Underwood Avenue. We are brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing. If you need any help with a residential or commercial roof, you definitely want to reach out to Dingman's. Eric Obremt is the owner, and he's got a team of people there who just do an amazing job of taking care of your roof. And if you're a commercial roof owner or property manager, check out their preventative maintenance program. And it's not just Omaha, by the way. They go into Iowa, even serve the Des Moines, Iowa market. And so this whole entire area around here, you can find them at dndmroofing.com. Well, Trenton, we want to talk a little bit about Sarpy County in this next segment. A couple projects that are going on in Sarpy County. You know, it is the third largest county in Nebraska.
And growing.
What do you think the population of Sarpy County is? Just maybe a stump the Trenton question.
85,000.
You're a little low. Add a little over 100,000 to that.
The Sarpy County.
Yeah, you were thinking of one in a different state or something like that?
I'll say 187,000.
Close, 193,418 in 2021.
Okay.
So it's presumably larger now. And so a couple things about Sarpy that are kind of cool.
Oh, you wanted me to include Papillion, La Vista, and Gretna?
Generally.
Okay.
Okay, so the county voted for a 4% decrease. The county board approved a 4% decrease in the tax levy. You don't hear that very often.
4% or
4%.
Okay.
Yeah, 4%. You don't hear about a decrease in the tax levy very
Well,
often.
they're in Fuego. I mean, they've got a ton of retail. They got a lot of taxable projects going on. Mm-hmm. And I understand that.
So it approved a $280 million budget. It includes the hiring of 33 new employees, mostly because of the new correctional center that is set to open at 2023. You may have noticed that under construction, northeast corner of 84th and Highway 370 in Papillion. Some other projects in the Sarpy County budget. $84.8 million for road projects, which includes $59 million from a 2022 highway allocation pledge bond, $22 million and some change for ARPA-funded projects, and then $8.8 million to complete that correctional center. One other thing I wanted to mention in Sarpy County, some people may have noticed this was in some of the news outlets this week, a small 15-acre lake and an accompanying 65-acre park will be built for $7.5 million near 204th and Schramm Road in Gretna. Now, like all of these lakes and rec centers, ultimately the reason for it is flood control.
It's a 4-state project? Is that the one that's a 4-state project?
Yeah, it is. It's the first.
How pissed are those other 3 states?
Well, there's a competitive grant program through the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and they have them in clusters of states, and it's part of their building resilient communities because of flooding. Flooding is becoming a bigger problem everywhere as you have more and more development. You have more and more of one of our favorite words, impervious surfaces.
Sure.
So you get more runoff. And so we're trying to slow down the runoff with all of these lake projects. This one will be really nice. The park looks great. What's cool for Gretna, though, is that this is completely separate from and in addition to the massive park that is currently under construction between Gretna and Nebraska Crossing. So, that whole quality of life, recreation component of Gretna is only going to get better.
I find this very interesting. It's like the opposite. Remember in Ben Nelson, there was that multi-state agreement to like bury, was it chemical waste?
Nuclear waste. You're talking about the nuclear waste compact, and we were in like with 5 states, and of course we were chosen to host the nuclear waste, and then Nebraska chose the county that was as far north as possible. But South Dakota was not part of the compact. I always remember thinking, Kansas was. You should have put it really close to the other compact state to stick it to them, since they chose us as the repository.
This is like the opposite of it.
But I don't think that never even happened. That whole thing never even happened.
Okay.
Remember, it was like that huge source of controversy in the 80s and 90s, and it was Boyd County was where it was going to go.
Was it a random deal or something like? As far, how did we get chosen?
All I know is I think the other 4 states in the compact probably all got together and said, "Hey guys, if we all vote for Nebraska, Nebraska's screwed. So let's stick it to them." And we were probably the most lightly populated state in the 5, so that probably had something to do with it.
I remember that.
And with that, we're going to take our middle of the show break. When we come back, we're going to talk about an amazing organization called Play for Paige Foundation. And we're going to introduce you to the founders of that organization and the very important work that it's going to be doing, and a cool story. So you're going to want to hear all of that. We also have the commercial real estate development spotlight by Nodal companies coming up. So stay tuned for all of it. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. Okay, guys, come on in. If you don't mind, we're going to have you stand for the interview, because when you have, you're both going to be on air, right? Okay. When you have 2 people, if you sit, you end up being too far from the microphone. So we'll have you just kind of jump in a little bit like that. So Dan told me that we basically kind of want to talk. Is it promoting the golf outing? Is that the primary focus?
Well, the golf outing or just the mission of
the group. Okay. Yeah. So if I come in, how do we want to come in? We could talk. I mean, I assume you want me to mention a little bit about Paige or something.
I think that's totally fine.
Okay, well, we'll do that, and then if we want to talk the golfing, we can.
I'll give you the flyer. It'd be great if they talk about this too.
Yeah. All this, I'm trying to think about how I would introduce it and bring them in.
Financing available with approved credit. A better way to buy.
We're almost full for golfers, but we can take more golfers.
Okay. Are you looking for donations?
Donations are still.
Okay.
And where does the money go?
We could talk about how complicated other banks make it to redeem credit card. Or we could talk about how with Discover you can redeem your rewards for cash.
Larry Woodman moved back to Omaha.
Talk about amazing.
Wasn't he like Minot?
He's a Lincoln.
Did he used to be a Minot forever?
I don't know about that.
We don't know.
I don't know about that. Larry Woodman.
Larry Woodman. Alan Woodman's brother, I think.
Oh, so he's helping us put together a curriculum to present, but it'll be a video series that will send to lots of our local sports organizations.
Okay. We're trying to get a curriculum together that will allow coaches, faculty, and students to help recognize mental health, depression, anxiety within their peers and student athletes.
And a lot about coping mechanisms, coping skills, because we're not going to cure their issues, but if we can help them with some tools to cope for the kids, coping strategies, and then the coaches and parents can focus us more about recognition.
But I mean, we've had D1 athletes reach out. I mean, I can let you. You could read it real quick, but it's a girl basically. This will kind of tell you. I don't know how much time you have here. But
we've got a couple minutes.
I'm gonna let you just read this. What we've had. We get kids from all over the country. Sydney, Maryland. You can read this. This is what she sent me. Thursday at 3:43.
Just this Thursday?
Yeah, don't read her name off.
Right.
Don't say her name or anything, but she's a D1 athlete. Never played with Paige, never played against her. Yeah.
Oh, reading your Facebook post.
Mississippi are in contact with the pilot of a small plane who was threatening to crash it into a Walmart store.
So the Facebook posts have been pretty inspirational. Bracelets. Lots of people have
convenience store have been
said,
evacuated as a
my
precaution.
grandson
On Friday,
asked me about your
DOJ
bracelet
released a more
and then started
detailed
talking about
list
his
of
own
documents
struggles
taken
and his
during
plans
last
to not
month's
be
raid
here.
on former
And
President
because of your
Trump's
bracelet, we've had
Florida home.
dialogue, and he was admitted to the hospital, got put on meds, and he's here with us
On his
now.
graduation day from high
Wow.
school.
Wow.
So, I mean,
So these kids want to talk, they just don't know how to get to start talking. You know, and Paige was one of those what they call 5%ers. She wasn't going to talk to anybody. Even her own therapist was like, she hid it. You know, she
But
only
she had a therapist.
She did.
absolutely.
Yeah, she was getting help and she had medication, but she would only give you little pieces of it. And I tell people it's kind of like a puzzle, you know. Now we get to see the whole picture. It's obvious what was going on, but you know, as when you just have tiny little pieces all over, and somebody says you got to put together right now,
Right.
you can maybe get 2 or 3 together, but you're not getting the whole puzzle put together. In hindsight.
And how much of it, if you had to, if someone held you to it, like, not held you to it, but if you had to guess, what percentage of it was chemical, just chemical makeup of her brain?
Oh, she suffered with depression, anxiety for several years. And it got to the point where we'd had her on meds for a little over a year and a half. Because it just was getting a little bit unbearable. So.
And I would say that the percentage,
I don't know about.
I don't know how to put it in percentage.
Yeah.
Or just of all kids, or all people, when it comes to mental health, like how much can be environmental and just,
I think they have the underlying chemical issues, the underlying imbalances in your brain, and then the environmental stuff are kind of the triggers that kind of push some of these kids over the edge. I don't think depression and anxiety are the sole causes of all the depression or all the suicides that we see out there, but there's a very high, probably 70 to 90% of kids.
And the
suicide
isolation from
attempts
COVID and,
are,
you know.
have underlying mental
and
illness.
I wonder if there's been studies done about social media and how social media is so horrible in so many ways.
Children's Hospital just sent us a new stat. From the age from 10 to 23, suicide is now the leading cause of death in that segment of age.
It used to be what, like over cancer?
Everything.
It used to be like what,
Everything.
third or something like that?
Yeah, it used to be third, fourth. Not this year. They just released.
When you
it.
go from the ages of 10 to 24, it's number 1.
The 10-year-olds killing themselves.
If you go to 15, it's the number 3. But if you have the 10 to 24, it's number 1.
Number 1 cause of death.
Yeah, well, it's all. Now, did Paige pass away in March?
March
30th. Okay.
3:30.
Yeah.
330, which was her number, was 33.
Oh, wow.
So we have a lot of 33 show up on a lot of things.
Yeah, I see it on the T-shirt. Yeah.
That's actually her foundation is Play for Page 33.
Her number in softball was 33.
Yeah, because Dan sent me the KETV piece that
Yeah, they just did a follow-up on it too.
Oh, did they? Okay. Yeah.
They did a whole bunch of, they did mental health awareness Tuesday night at Scott.
And since then, we've gotten requests from 2 or 3 other high schools to provide bracelets, T-shirts, stuff for them to have mental health awareness nights before the next season.
We're coming back in just a second. I hate to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but if for any reason you're talking and you see me go like this, I'm just telling you to move a little closer.
You don't want to touch that with your lips. I made that mistake. Is that microphone?
Jason, I need you, don't mind, I have a camera over there and another one over here. This could, yeah, perfect. Thank
we're back.
you. So we're all, thanks.
Enjoying the Labor Day break, and I hope you'll join us. We have lots to do the coming week. KFAB's Morning News.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. You are listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. Dingman's has 4 locations around the metro area. And in addition to being the #1 destination for auto body work, they also provide mechanical services as well. And so we thank Dingman's Collision Center for being one of our sponsors. Time for a commercial real estate development spotlight, brought to you by Noddle Companies. Trenton, one of the projects that Noddle Companies has is Exarban Village. I was there last night. My wife and I and our daughter went to Saffron Urban Indian Kitchen, had a great dinner there. And you would not believe how hopping that place was. We walked around afterwards to Sonny's. Sonny's is that outdoor area north of the HDR headquarters. That place was it was like a carnival. It was so active.
Absolutely great drinks over at Sonny's.
And then they are good, by the way. And then we went over to the Interrail Food Hall, and part of us were like, Saffron was great, but we almost wished we had gotten a Reagan's lobster roll.
Yeah.
Next time. At any rate, places hopping, and Exarban Village is only one of the developments that the Noddle companies have. They also have Builders District downtown, the Village Point West Medical Campus, Steel Ridge in Sarpy County, Rivers Edge and Council Bluffs, and many, many more. If you ever want to learn more about Noddle companies, just go to noddlecompanies.com. Well, for the next 2 weeks, this week and next, we're going to be talking about some important things for you to know. September is Suicide Awareness Month, and last spring in March, we lost Paige Roessner. Was a senior at Scott High School and a star softball player. And her parents are joining us here today to talk about a foundation that has been created in her memory called Play for Paige. With us today are Barb and Jason Roessner. Barb and Jason, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Well, we appreciate you being here. And before we talk a little bit about some ways that people can get involved in Play for Paige, tell us a little bit about your daughter and how she was the impetus for this amazing new foundation.
Absolutely. Jason, talk.
Paige was a very active kid, very inclusive. Hard to put your daughter in words after this. She was the light, she was the kid that other kids wanted to be like. She was kind, sweet, pretty, athletic, a 4.0 honor student. The biggest problem we ever had with her, really, where she ever got in trouble was she chewed gum during mass. And, as she was transferred her junior year to Scott, she did not know you couldn't chew gum in mass. And so that was the only time I really remember her being in trouble or getting a call from anybody. She was an easy kid to raise. She was the youngest of three, and she was easy. She was competitive. Probably, I would say, ultra competitive. I mean, she would compete in anything. Who could be first to do the dishes? Who could be first to get up in the morning? She loved to compete. But she hid her illness very, very well. Very, very well. We knew for about 1.5 years that she was having struggles. We had to transfer her due to it. Once we knew that, we got her with a therapist. She actually did all the research. She selected the individual, and she started going. And she scheduled her own visits. She was just that kid that she was in control of her schedule, and she did things, kind of on her way, her dime, if you will. And it was just really, that morning was one that I'll never forget, because she did it her way. And that's kind of how she did things.
And so you and your family has dealt with an incredible loss last spring, and it's a loss that affected the entire community, not only Scott High School, but really all over the Omaha area.
Well, coast to coast.
Barb?
Coast to coast, really. Coast to coast. We've had communications from athletes, coaches, parents from Florida, Illinois, California, Washington, Texas. So it had a lot more than just a local impact.
Mm-hmm. And so in the aftermath of this tragedy, you have created this organization called Play for Paige 33. Tell us a little bit about what that organization is and what its purpose is.
Well, the purpose is we actually had people come to us, the weeks following and said, we have to do something. You have to do something. You guys are so active people. You this will consume you if you don't get busy doing something. And the outpouring and outreach from the community was incredible for us. When we started planning her memorial service, we thought 200-300 people. People were waiting 3 hours outside the building to get in just to come in to the memorial, which, we started grasping how much of an impact it was having at that time. And so we started this foundation to bring awareness, to make it okay to be not okay. There's a stigma associated with mental health. Most people, in that 40 to and up neighborhood, they think it's a weakness. They think it's, they think of people in straitjackets. They think of the Funny Farm, the bad movies of the 80s, So we just thought we had to do something to bring awareness and end the stigma. And so we started it, and we want to give faculty, coaches, and student athletes a way to identify the kids that are struggling. We're not going to cure it. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to bring awareness and help end the stigma that's associated when somebody says they're struggling with mental health.
And there's no question that so many of us in the community, just whether they're regular folks, all walks of life, it doesn't matter your social status, it doesn't matter your success or not success, but we were talking about during the break, it's probably at least a third of the population is either on some kind of medication or should be on some kind of medication. But it's not just medication. It's also being able to have a friend to talk to and feel, as you guys said, it's hard to figure out the stigma part of it. Is there any coping mechanisms or anything that the community can do to, if they see a friend in need or whatever, is what to listen for, what to watch for?
Just listening is the first place to start. I wouldn't judgment. We shouldn't judge. We need to be kind, and that's one thing that Paige really did was be kind to everyone that she encountered. We raised our kids that you didn't have to be friends with everybody, but you had to be nice to everybody, and that's what Paige did. So far as when she passed away, in her locker, they brought us a bag of candy, and it kind of caught us off guard because it was candy she didn't like, and so we started asking people about this candy. And they said, yeah, if we weren't smiling or it didn't seem like we were having a good day, Paige would throw a piece of candy our way and say, hey, smile, it's not that bad. And she would tell her friends, you matter. And so she did all of these things to be a good friend, to be supportive, to be encouraging, meanwhile all suppressing all of that stuff herself. But, we can all learn from her to just be kind, to be inclusive, and encourage those people around us to smile and to talk to us.
Before we wrap up with Barb and Jason Roessner of the Play for Paige Foundation, I want to talk a little bit about the inaugural golf tournament that you have coming up on September 12th, and also let us know any way that Grow Omaha listeners could help out.
Quite honestly, we put this together very fast. Mr. Greg Young has been very, very helpful in getting this set up, so we owe him a great thank you. So what we do is, we're trying to raise money to bring the tools to these people, schools, coaches, and the players free, so that we can end the stigma. The way people can get involved is they can golf. They can come out. They want to come to just the dinner. You can buy just a dinner ticket. You can go to playforpage33.com. There's ways to sponsor. There's ways to donate. There's ways to golf. There's a silent auction coming up. Just showing up. Listen to it. You don't have to financially get involved. You can get involved just with your helping. You don't have to financially get involved. So.
Well, Barb and Jason, we're sorry for your loss, but we are very grateful for what you're doing to help other people in the community. It's playforpage33.com. The event is September 12th at Indian Creek, and there are other ways to get involved if you go to the website. So thank you for being with us today, and thank you for all of this work you're doing in the aftermath of your daughter's passing to make the world a better place.
Thank you.
Our pleasure, our honor. Barb and Jason Roessner with the Play for Page 33 Foundation. Going to take our final break of the hour, and when we come back, we'll have our lightning round by Turner Construction. You're listening to Grow Omaha on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Everyone says they like
Wonderful interview. Thank you so much. I hope it generates a little bit of interest in some traffic.
I didn't care about the golf tournament. It's just to keep people talking.
Yeah.
Because the more people talk, the more kids realize it's okay.
How are your other kids doing?
They're doing okay. My middle son took it the hardest because he has had mental health struggles himself. Suicidal ideations in the past and his admission. So it's been the hardest for him, I think, because he feels like he should have seen it because he's been there.
You know, some of her fellow students that she talked through these struggles.
Yeah.
They're struggling so hard because they didn't see that
she was our rock.
Was struggling.
She was our rock. She helped us. We have tattoos of her words because she told me every day that I mattered.
Yeah, I mean, there's other children that have tattoos that, you matter.
Amateur mistake.
I bet there's got to be 20 people that have got tattoos that she helped through something.
Really? So she was more in her pain. She was more focused on other people than her own pain. Maybe that
People got to fill their own bucket before they can give out so much because then you're empty.
Well, that's what
That's exactly
what our friend said.
I was struggling, and I had a good friend, and she said, Jason, you're not ready to know why she did this. And I said, no, I am. I want to know why. The why is killing me. I need to know. And she said, the why is real simple. She gave all her kindness and all her love and all of her self-support and everything to everybody else, and she didn't keep anything for herself because she always worried about everybody else first.
20. You guys stick. We're only going to be 3 minutes if you want to stick around a little bit. So okay. Yeah, this will only be about 4 minutes or so, Raj?
You're going to have.
What's that?
You're going to have a little under 4.
Under 4. Okay.
Carbon monoxide poisoning suspected in the horrible tragedy at Millard. What do you need to know to get safe? Sergio Roman is Omaha Fire. The interview podcast link morning news page KFAB.com.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid here, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing. It's time for the lightning round. This is where we talk about a lot of things in a short period of time, and the lightning round, as always, is made possible by Turner Construction. Turner Construction is building Omaha in a way that is very, very special and very, very impressive, from big projects like the massive 4 million square foot Sarpy County data center to your next project for your business. Maybe that's an interior build out. Maybe that's a new office building. Maybe that's a warehouse. Who knows? You know what you need. But whatever it is, Turner Construction will do a great job of building it. We highly recommend Turner Construction for anyone looking for a project or for a place to work in the building trades. So, Trenton, a lot of things on the docket. First of all, Stories Coffee has opened in Gretna, and this is in addition to the Stories Coffee at 114th and Dodge Davenport, which is so incredibly popular.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and they have a location inside a church
West Dodge.
On West Dodge, so they are going gangbusters. Blue Sky Patio and Pickleball has opened in Regency Landing. Regency Landing is that new project which is still under development northeast of I-680 and Pacific Street. This Blue Sky Patio and Pickleball is a bar, but they also have the outdoor pickleball courts, which are so popular.
I have never seen pickleball being played in person.
Oh, really? Yeah, I have.
And also the Twisted
really
Cork is open again, the new Twisted Cork.
Yeah, in that same development. But this is kind of cool. If you go inside Blue Sky, inside this bar, they have a Noli's Pizzeria counter and a Cheeseburgers, a takeout joint counter.
Nice.
So those two restaurants are in there as well. Clean Juice plans to open a store at One Pacific Place between Andres Tortillery and Plank, Omaha. Clean Juice, it's like the name indicates, organic juices, smoothies. They also have some organic food items. They had a location at 1308 Jackson, but when you look up that location on Google, it says temporarily closed. So it appears as if the old market one is either closed or temporarily closed.
Let's go to Dirty Birds and then go to Clean Juice after that.
And Dirty Birds is now open in the Flatiron. I've not been to that new location yet.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that. I love that. I love that spicy chicken. Speaking of something dirty and sinister, how about Sinful Burgers?
There you go.
Sinful Burgers is opening a second location soon in Harvey Oaks Shopping Center. That's near 144th and West Center Road in a former Greek restaurant space. The original Sinful Burger is located in Bellevue's Twin Creek Plaza. And then Trenton, you put a new coffee shop into Frederick Square, 84th and Frederick Street, called Cafe Monster.
Yeah, and thanks to Jordan Esty, who I worked with, and I represented the landlord, he represented the tenant. I don't know if they're open yet, but they look like they're ready to open, if they're not open already. But they have all kinds of games, card games, merchandise, movies, all kinds of things. Cafe Monster, it's the old Learning HQ space. Then we also have another 9,000 square foot tenant coming along with the library, administrative services, and distribution center. Concord Mediation Center that's moving from about 90th and Boyd is building out right now, and we're excited to welcome both of those tenants.
Dragon Walk has opened at Nebraska Crossing. Original location is 144th and Fort, but now a quick serve location at Nebraska Crossing. And finally, Sicky's Garage Burgers opens Tuesday.
Wow.
At the Westroads. And that's it for this week. The music is playing. We're out of here. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Turner Construction, Dingman's Collision Center, and D&M Roofing. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.